Hi, everyone. I am Mary Kate Luke. I'm the marketing specialist here at Hasmark Publishing International, and I am joined today by wonderful author Deb Burger. She is releasing a journal for children. It is entitled the Sandbox Journal. It is such a wonderful concept. I'm so excited to chat about it more. So thank you for joining me, Deb. It's wonderful to have you here with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This concept is so inspirational and it's so intelligent. I love it. Can you talk to me a little bit more about what the title, the Sandbox Journal, means and the whole concept?
Sure. Well, it started a long time ago as far as my three boys played in the sandbox all while growing up and stuff. And I just loved it because that was the time where they would get in the sandbox and they would play for hours and hours and hours. And I always knew where they were. I never had to worry about them. So I could get dinner made or things like that. And they just loved it. They would explore, they would create. And it was just nice because they were peaceful and quiet and they were just digging into the sand. And then later, as my grandkids came along, my grandkids enjoyed the same sandbox, and they love just digging in the sand and jumping in. So then I kind of noticed, I don't know, with everything going on in the world and how families are so stressed. And I noticed with my grandkids at a very young age that maybe they were frustrated or with a situation or something, or, maybe their parents wanted them to go play while they fixed dinner or something, and they would get frustrated. And it would just break my heart to see on their faces that, that they're upset or they're frustrated and they wanted to express themselves. But of course, at that young of an age, they can't put their thoughts into words. And so that it frustrated me. And I was like, wow, I wonder what I could do to help as far as all the families and these kids that they want to be able to express themselves, but they don't have the words yet and they can't write yet. And I know as we get older and, we're in our teens probably, that we start journaling. I just thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to have where young children could journal, and so they could journal with images because they don't have the writing and being able to express themselves that way in words and things, so they could just draw. And so that's where I came with kind of putting the two together with image journaling, and then also with the sandbox, because I feel like that's a nice place where kids can go, they kind of quiet down, they explore, they're just with their thoughts. And I wanted to be able to do that. So that's where the whole concept came together. And then I also thought, well, most children, not all children, get to have a sandbox at their home. So not all children can have a sandbox if they live in an apartment, or who knows where they might be and they don't have one, or they can't bring sand into the house or things like that. So then I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to just have a sandbox that the child could take with them wherever they go? So that's how it all kind of came together.
I think it's so wonderful too, because like you said, the sandbox is one of those places that it just sort of breeds imagination, because you make something from nothing, like you're creating with the sand, which is so incredible. And I think that, especially like you mentioned, for young kids, even kids who are nonverbal, it's a great way for them to express themselves through drawing and creating in that medium instead of having to use their words, which is something that we don't see often. So I love that you've created this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Now, what do you hope parents and children gain from using the Sandbox Journal?
Well, I hope to help parents and very young children communicate so that the child's not so stressed out, the parent's not so stressed out. So, maybe they're driving in the car and the child can be, journaling in their sandbox journal while the parent can, concentrate on driving. Or maybe the parents or whoever the child caregiver, that maybe they're in the doctor's office, maybe they're in the hospital, and it's a stressful time. Or maybe you're just at home and like the parents are trying to fix dinner, things like that. And so I know it's very stressful out there, and I think it's just a way to help the parents and the child, but mostly to help the child communicate with whoever is watching them or taking care of them, that they can express themselves and communicate. Because I don't know, I just get so frustrated when I watch a child, they're so, upset or something maybe, and that they can't express their feelings. And I just feel like we ought to help them express their whatever's going on in their mind, and whatever thoughts that they are having.
Absolutely. And I think too that this is almost like an early lesson in grounding, like learning for them to ground themselves at like a very early age, which is something that's so important for all of us. So it's a wonderful lesson to be learned in that respect as well.
Yeah, I hope that that the children will learn really good, healthy mental habits that will stay with them throughout their life, and that so even when they're having happy times, that they get to have some kind of memory that they could put down about, their birthday party or things like that. That they can have a memory, but then also that they can, through their tough times later in life, that maybe this will help them go back to, oh, how they enjoyed that. And maybe it will stick with them and help them throughout their life.
Definitely. Now, what were some roadblocks that you faced sort of throughout the process with creating this?
The biggest roadblock is trying to get the physical feel of the sand and the sandbox physically brought to life in the journal, so that they get that feeling of being in the sandbox. And so I think that was, I'm really trying to get that across. So it's not just paper, it's more like this is an actual sandbox that you can take with you, especially because kids like to, well, even adults, I guess, like to play in the sand and dig their feet into the sand and stuff. But I know it's not practical for, of course, anybody to bring a sandbox wherever you go, if you're traveling or if you're going to the doctor's office or anything like that. So that's the hard part. And so I really hope I'm able to do that with the hard copy, where it'll feel like, on the front of the cover will feel like sand. And so I'm going to have some like grit or feeling on the front in the sandbox. So I'm trying to express that.
That's incredible. We all know how fun those books are, like the touch and feel books. I think that that's a really awesome element to add.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that'll entice the child to actually kind of bring them to that spot where, oh, this feels like sand, and get them into that creative mode.
Definitely. Now, this journal helps to sort of create and foster a creative landscape for children, even very, very young children. I know we've mentioned it sort of briefly already, but why do you think that this is so important? Maybe we'll foster a generation of wannabe artists and painters. Who knows? But why do you think that this is important to share with the world?
Well, I think the younger, the better that any of us, the younger, the better, that children need to be able to express themselves. And I think a lot of times families get so busy, and it's so stressful. The world is so stressful right now, and it just I think it's more important now than ever, because with all the technology and everything like that, I think it's really nice to get back to, just dirt and sand and dig in, and it just I don't know, I guess I just feel like it's more important than ever to start younger and younger, so that they have this tool, and then hopefully that'll help them throughout their life.
Absolutely. I think it helps to create an incredible foundation for children too, even just to help with mental health, which is maybe not something we consider or think about even in very, very young children, but it starts at a young age to foster a healthy mental health journey. So I think that this is breeds right into that, and it's so important.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we forget that even if the child is 1 years old, and maybe they're not, they can't talk and things like that, doesn't mean that they don't have a lot going on in their mind. And so I really feel like that we should focus on the younger, the better. So um, that's why I kind of felt like we really needed to go younger with the journaling, instead of, I think it's always been I don't know, maybe 10 years old, you would start journaling. And I really feel like the younger, the better. And it would really help a lot of kids, getting them ready for school or preschool or daycare or anything like that. It would really help.
Absolutely. And that sort of leads right into my next question, which is what sets this journal apart from others? Obviously, a lot of it, the majority of it doesn't involve writing, which most journals do. So I think that it really sets apart from others in that respect. But
Yes, I think the main thing is the image journaling instead of when people say journaling, they immediately think of writing and writing out how their day went or feelings or how they felt that day or the old days of when girls had diaries and they would put in there all their secrets and so I feel like the difference in this is completely that there is no words and there is no writing, that it's all drawing images and just how you feel. And even if you're only 1 or 2 years old, maybe you can't draw an image, but you can draw with colors as far as maybe you're feeling like the sky, or you're feeling like the sun, or you're feeling really happy with a smiley face, or maybe you're frustrated, and so a color that represents frustration for them, maybe that's what they use, and how they can try to work on writing out their images. So I think the big thing is that this is image journaling and it's not your typical writing words.
absolutely. And I love that you mentioned the colors because that was my first thought was that children see that and they can express themselves even with the use of crayons, which is so fantastic. So I love that.
Yeah, yeah, and they can get really creative, just like in a sandbox. You can get creative with sticks and just anything material that they find, or whether it be cotton or
Yep.
anything that they could find that they could work with, and they can put that in there too.
Absolutely. Now, when does the Sandbox Journal launch and where can people get a hold of a copy of it?
It launches on November 29th, and they'll be able to get a copy on Amazon or debburger.com. So those are probably the two best places to get a copy.
Amazing. And where can people find you? Your website, social media?
The website will be debburger.com, but then also we'll have a Sandbox Journal Facebook page. So we have a Facebook page just for Sandbox Journal. And then also on Instagram, it is the Sandbox Journal on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today, Deb. I can't wait for this to launch and to get this into the hands of children everywhere. I actually have young nieces and nephews, so I'm so excited to get a copy for them because I think this concept is so universal and I think it's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you.